All right. Hey guys, welcome to Book Study. Everyone communicates, few connect. Tonight, I'm super excited when I saw the title of our chapter. It is Connectors Create an Experience Everyone Enjoys. And if y'all know me, you know that I like to create enjoyable experiences, lots of them. So I just loved this chapter. So we're gonna dive right in. Yes, all the fun. Bring me all the fun. So we're gonna dive right in and just talk about some ways to make things interesting and enjoyable. All right, so he talks about some characteristics. And so I got to thinking about this characteristics of people or presentations that are enjoyable. So I thought about our team, and we're all so different. And I loved when Brittany did this. I think it was our first week. So we're going to have a time to just call each other out. So have fun with this. I want y'all to tell us some characteristics of the people on this call that make them interesting. In other words, what are some characteristics of people on this call that are not boring?
Katie Wiggins' accent.
I feel like I need to talk now since you said my accent. You're going to call it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to call out Emily for being such a great leader.
That was super sweet, Katie. I was going to say Emily with her vibrant shirt colors. She's always super cheerful with her neon yellow and her hot pink.
I'm going to say, oh, sorry, Jackie, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to unmute myself. I'm sorry.
Okay, well then I'll go. I was going to say Kayleen, because every time she talks, I feel like she's just talking straight into my heart. Like just straight into my heart. Captivating.
I agree about that. What about Jana, where she gives you a compliment and she means it so genuinely, she cries? She cries.
I have to shout out some of my ladies who wear their headphones because it makes me smile every time because they're just the cutest things. And they don't care what people think.
I also will make two more shout outs for Jackie and Rachel, because every time I talk to them, they just make me feel so joyful. And Rachel makes me want to dance. And Jackie just from the heart. She's got my heart. So
Love that. What about Nancy being president of the gardening club, even though she doesn't garden? This is a fun game. Let's keep doing this.
Shout out to my robe wearers. Like Abby, we like to keep it comfy. Hillary, I see you too.
You stole that. I was so about to say the robes. Or to the people who act like they don't ever Zoom and can't ever remember to mute themselves when they come on a Zoom. That we can shout those people out.
Well, I was going to shout out Terry for just being number one cheerleader in life. And also Christina for jumping into anything, anytime, anywhere with no thought given to anything. It never makes things dull, ever, ever.
It gets stuff done. That's what you meant. It gets stuff done.
That is exactly what I meant. A whole lot of other things usually.
Like selling your house in 24 hours or planning a trip to New York in like 5 seconds or changing the place that you're staying at in 3 different times.
Or being at the airport, leaving one convention and already booking a house for the next convention.
I'm not going to be homeless. Okay. I'm going to have some place to stay. All y'all trying to figure out where you staying at convention. Mine been booked for 2 years.
I'm going to shout out Brittany's ability to ask a question about a question about a question that started as a question. Like she can literally have a whole conversation with you and never do anything but actually end stuff in question marks. You can't get dull with that. That cannot get boring.
I'm going to shout out Abby because her and I think very differently. And every time she asks me a question, I'm always like, huh, I never would have thought of that. Or brings a perspective to me that I just doesn't ever cross my mind. Thanks for that, Abby.
You're welcome. And actually, I was thinking about you because you have so much knowledge in the green world and in natural health. And I always love what you're learning. So keep sharing that because it's super interesting.
Okay, well, I love those. We could probably go on all night, but we're not going to because I got to get this done in 20 more minutes. So, but those are fantastic. And I like how like everybody's just so different and that makes it interesting. All right, so now following up to that, what are some things we can do to become more interesting? So if we feel like we need more engagement or need to be able to connect better one-on-one or want to be able to lead events better, what are some ways we can become more interesting?
Learn something.
Learn to ask good questions to people.
Read things. The more things you read, the more interesting you can be.
Whitney said in the chat to be curious. Something I'm working on. Anybody else?
I think stepping out of your comfort zone. Like I know a lot of people know like that this has been out of my comfort zone and it's made them like ask me all kind of questions, like be interested in what I'm doing.
Yeah, we have some good ones in the chat too. Excitement, Katie. Yeah, you're super good at that. Listening more. Also an area I can improve. Yeah, those are all really good. Okay, we're going to go on to the next one because I want us to spend more time here. So on page 179, there's a quote. It says, people have remote controls in their heads today. If you don't catch their interest, they click you off. John mentions some ways he catches the attention of people. So these are the ways he does that. Starts with a comment about the situation or the setting. He introduces himself. He relaxes. You can begin with humor, create a sense of anticipation. So thinking about those things, what are some examples of how we can use these in our branding first?
Will you repeat those, Rachel?
Yeah, it's on page 179 too, if y'all are visual. Start with a comment about the situation or the setting, introduce yourself, relax, begin with humor, create a sense of anticipation.
I think it all comes back to your opening line of your post. Like that's going to either catch people or people are going to just keep scrolling. So for example, tonight I did a post, I just threw it up there about our family game night or game day. And I said something about like, I am such a fun mom. I love to play games. And then by the end, it said we ended the games in tears and crying and let's not do this again. So just trying to hook people in and, you know, involving emotions and keeping their interests and, you know, humor is always a plus.
Well, and speaking to the anticipation one, I think anytime we can take people on a journey, you know, with us, and they're just naturally curious to see where this is going to go. First of all, are you going to follow it through or are you going to quit? But also, like, what is it going to look like along the way? And then whenever you get to whatever your thing is, I think that's a great way to create anticipation. Also, if you're going on a big trip, convention, leaders retreat, family vacay, somewhere you've never been, tell people about that. Like, before you go, show them you pack in your suitcase, tell them what your kids are excited about, whatever. And then by the time you get there, they're all wanting to know what you're doing on your trip, that kind of stuff. Just creating curiosity basically about what you're doing, because we all love to watch other people's lives. That's why reality TV makes $1 bajillion a year, because we just want to see,
And let me play off of that. If you want to see this done brilliantly, follow Melissa Eichenhorst. If you have not followed Melissa Eichenhorst, you need to, but she's about to go on her yacht trip March 9th, and you will see her market brilliantly. She will market leading up to her trip. She will market on her trip. Like, pay very close attention. So if you're not following her, follow her, and then just make it a point. Probably starting next week is when she'll start kind of dropping information about it. So you can do this with, just like Emily said, convention. You can market book study. Do you know how many people don't know people meet like this and learn things? You can learn to market stuff like this, and you're marketing your community. So you're offering that as a benefit. So yeah.
So I guess it was a few weeks ago, I got a private message from Michelle Stuchel, and it was about my, the sheet pan recipe thing that I've been doing. And she was like, girl, I love this. She goes, but the first time I did it, I put the recipe in the comments, and she goes, don't do that. She said, just say, if you want it, message me. And so I've been doing that now, and it's gotten a lot of interaction in my message box, which I wouldn't have thought about that. I knew I just didn't want to put the link in the original thing, because I know Facebook doesn't like that, but I thought, I'll just put it in the comments. So she's like, so I love the fact that she saw it, and she's like, I love that, but let's make it better. So, so that was just a really good tip that she gave me. And I love that she, felt that she could do that, because I learned a lot from that.
Okay, so using those same things then. So starting with a comment about the situation, introducing yourself, relaxing, beginning with humor, creating a sense of anticipation. How can we do that in our messaging?
I think it all starts with like your connection portion of your message, because you obviously don't want to just jump right into, hey, this is Plexus, you know what I mean? So, having that connection portion at the beginning of your message, and, telling them something funny, or just relating with them like, hey, are you freezing right now? Because I just spent an hour digging out snow because I am, so just always making sure that you have a good connection message prior to actually talking to them about Plexus.
I agree with that, Hillary. And Bob Heilig says you shouldn't even be naming your company in your first message. You can bring up your products without naming your company, and just doing that builds anticipation, because it's like, well, interesting, because what you're selling is yourself. Like in that first message, basically you're piquing their interest on yourself and the benefits of what you have to offer. So it would be kind of like somebody describing their new favorite pair of jeans. You don't really care if it's the Flying Monkey brand or the Judy Blue brand. Like, you're paying attention to the fit, the stretch, the color, you're paying attention to what they love about it. You don't care what the brand is. So he says not to even name Plexus or whatever your company is in that initial reach out, and not naming it is going to build anticipation.
I think another thing that builds anticipation is when we ask if they want to see a tool before we send it. That way we can say, hey, are you open to watching this video? I think you'd really love these products. Or, hey, I found a testimony that made me think of you. Can I send it? And that is like, well, yeah, like people want that. and they want to see what it is, and it kind of makes them, anticipate and get excited about whatever we have to say next.
So something I do too when I'm messaging is I do use a lot of sarcasm. I do it in my posting too. So I'll say things and then I have sarcasm in parentheses, but that's how I talk. So my messaging and my posting is a lot like how I talk. I don't know if that's humor or not, but to me it is. I laugh about it. So okay, so using those same things again, we talked about our branding, our messaging, now in person. So this could be you're meeting for a coffee date or lunch, or you're hosting an event for your team, or maybe you're hosting a sip and see. How can you use these things to build connection at in-person events?
Well, definitely going up and introducing yourself, making people feel welcome that way. And if somebody comes up, for me personally, if I'm in a setting where I don't know anybody else, if somebody comes up to me and introduces themselves to me and starts like just a casual conversation, I immediately relax. I feel like the pressure's off. I can relax. I can communicate better with other people. So I feel like that is important to establish that connection.
Yeah, and I've learned from Christina too, because she has those questions she has in her back pocket all the time. I use those now like everywhere. Even if I meet somebody at church and, instead of there being awkward silence because I don't like it and I'm having to stand next to this new person, I'm going through those questions, or I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to ask about Ford, family, occupation. Crap, what's the R? Family, occupation, something, dreams.
Recreation.
Recreation.
She asks about FOD because the R's hard. So we ask about FOD.
Obviously, I don't care what they do in their free time. No, I really do. Yeah, so those are good too. Okay, anybody else for in person? All right. Okay, so on page 182, he talks about ways to activate an audience that maybe isn't so active. In other words, the person you're talking to is super quiet. Maybe they look bored. Have y'all ever talked to somebody who you're talking and the whole time they're going like this and looking around because they're not really listening to you? So that, or maybe in our messenger, they've gone quiet. So these are those people. How can we get them active? So he lists these methods. I'll read them out to you guys real quick. On page 182, he says you can ask questions, you can get people moving, like physically moving, or ask people to interact. So how can we use those and transfer them into our business when we're talking to somebody in person and messenger, on text, on the phone during a welcome call?
I'll go for in person because I do like to talk to people in person. I mean, I met somebody in a parking lot this week just to tell them about the products and the business. So we had a sip and see last week or 2 weeks ago, and there was a lady there that she did not listen to what I had to say. She was looking other places. She was not interested at all. So I decided to take the time after the thing was over and just talk with her and find out her interest and what she wanted to talk about. And that loosened her up to where she told me all the things and even got into what issues she was having and dealing with and what meds she was on. And so that really got us talking, and she ended up signing with my level 1 that brought her there, but she was just firm. And so getting them to talk about their interest, I have found has really helped with loosening them up and actually being open to hearing to what you have to say. And yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, that's really good. Katie's really good with in person, y'all. So she got all the tips. But I mean, one thing we've all talked about on here is people love to talk about themselves. So if you can get them talking about themselves, you can get them more active. Yeah. Anything else?
I was gonna say, when you're taking it back to like Messenger too, it's like the kind of very similar in that way that you just like bring it back to something that's going on with them. So like looking at their Facebook page and like saying, okay, their kid did this week. Let me figure out how I can ask a question regarding what their kid did or what the photo was about or something of that nature.
I'll add to that when it comes to Messenger, sometimes just switching up typing to voice messaging is enough to bring it back to life because they can hear your tone and your excitement.
That's really fun for the people who have an accent too, because you're real interesting. I love that. Anybody else? So, okay, I do have.
Rachel, I cannot believe you didn't mention GIFs.
I was just about to do it. Well, go ahead and tell him, Abby.
I was gonna say that's like your signature. Like you send the crazy sliding, like half naked man GIF to try to get the conversation sparked again.
Oh my gosh, she's not even lying, y'all. He literally is half naked and he's saying, "Hey, girl." Read your audience though, if you do that. I don't do that for everybody. So read the audience. It's a good way to get blocked if you do it to certain people. All right. Anybody else specific things you've done to getting people more active?
So I will say, my birthday was in November, and that day I had a couple of diamonds that I'm friends with from other on the other teams that messaged me personally that asked me questions about what I was doing on my birthday. It wasn't just the happy birthday, Nancy. It was one of them made a like on Canva, made like a card with her picture that said happy birthday, Nancy. It was really super cute. And then, but just ask questions about my birthday. And I thought that is so cool than just not the standard, happy birthday on their wall. So I've started doing that with people, especially people that I've messaged before and it's kind of gotten dead, but it's their birthday, messaging them in Messenger. And then asking, hey, something like, hey, hope you're celebrating you today. What are y'all doing? And then that just starts the conversation going and connecting with them again that isn't Plexus related, but just gets the relationship building again.
Yeah, I love that. That's something I do as well. It's part of my connecting every day. It's just going to that birthday list and I go to their inbox and send them a GIF because it's so fun. Okay, one more question and then we're going to be done. Maxwell says the bottom line when it comes to holding people's interest and connecting with others is to be the kind of communicator you like to hear. So let's brainstorm. What are some qualities that you have observed in the people you admire as communicators?
I definitely admire storytellers.
And I'm gonna need them to be funny.
I was going to say funny and sarcasm. That will engage me every time.
I think curiosity, like just somebody being curious about you. Like it makes me want to be, because it makes me feel special. Like, I mean, just like meeting, I don't know why I always go back to Brittany, but when she didn't know me from a fly on the wall and asking questions. And I was just like, wow, I felt really important. Like she cared about me and she just met me like 5 seconds ago.
I think someone that like exudes passion as well, like Angela. every time she like speaks, I'm just like captivated into what she's talking about.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. I want someone who's funny and straightforward with me. Like, I want you straight to the chase. Let's get this conversation over with as fast as we can.
You're my new favorite person. That's what I've always felt and thought, and I never said it, and now I regret it. But listen, I agree.
I get told all the time, Christina, that we're very similar people. Like Liz Turgeon says that all the time. She's like, girl, wait till you meet Christina at convention because
That is funny. But what's so funny, y'all, is it's not like hurry up and get the conversation over with because like this person is painful to talk to. It's because we feel so internally awkward. Like it's an internal thing. So it's like, hurry up before I like disappoint them. Like people expect me to be funny and straight to the point and also sarcastic, but also say smart things. Like so much pressure. So it's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Yes.
Don't ruin this. So man, I feel that.
I just love people who have really dramatic facial expressions when they talk. Like it's just, I mean, it's the best to me. I want to talk to them all day. If I can just like, if their face talks more than their mouth, I want to be their friend.
Give me an example. Who does that on our team? So I can start
Rachel
paying attention.
Griffin.
Rachel, her whole body
Michelle.
talks. Her whole
Rachel
body
and
talks.
And Michelle.
Oh, Michelle.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. I feel like Jill Renfro does that too. Jill and Robin Sullivan. Listen, we have a joke on the Jewel Trainer Committee. We will take pictures of Robin on the slide, like when she's not paying attention, because her face. And we will text it in the group chat like, Robin, is this what you want to be communicating right now? She's not amused.
Okay, well, those are all fantastic. Yes, Shannon, just so everyone knows, Shannon has a very dramatic face, and so does Ivy. So it's apparently genetic because we blood related. Okay, well, that is it. Thanks, y'all, for jumping on and participating. I love it. It was so hard for me to not jump on and dance across the screen to bring up being interesting, but I contained myself. All right, so y'all go and be funny and interesting and not boring.
Thank you, Rachel.